Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd like to continue the conversation of leadership. Specifically, what are the values of servant leadership? What do individuals like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., what do they all have in common? Well, it's really not just one thing, right? But rather, it's a commitment to key values that constitute being not just an effective leader, but a servant leader committed to helping others and transforming the world for the better. The results of servant leadership, well, they are exponential because being a servant leader, well, you are multiplying success and satisfaction, personal and professional, above and beyond the limits of traditional leadership outcomes. And so, what is that then? What does that look like? Well, the first value then of servant leadership is to honor others before yourself. Honor others before yourself. It was Albert Einstein who once said, I speak to everybody the same way, whether he's a garbage man or the president of a university. This simple statement, it perfectly encapsulates the concept of purposely honoring others before self. By speaking to everybody as they are important no matter their position in life, Einstein was demonstrating genuine respect for all people. Respect defines the underlying attitude of a servant leader. In other words, there's not these big I's and little U's if we're going to be servant leaders. And so, what then are the keys to honoring others? Well, affirm dignity by recognizing and responding to the needs of your team. Actively resolve issues. In other words, don't let things fester. Don't wait for things just to get better. Deal with issues. Respect people of all positions through word and behavior. The second value of servant leadership is to inspire vision before setting the course. Inspire vision before setting the course. It was Helen Keller who wrote, The only thing worse than being blind is having sight with no vision. Leaders daily around the world, they are going 100 miles an hour in no specific direction and getting absolutely nowhere. But great leaders, well, they work to establish a vision that goes far beyond what they can see and foster buy in from their team. Vision from leadership and buy in from teams produce an inspiring atmosphere where nearly any goal becomes possible. The first obstacle is when leaders fail to set a vision before taking action. These organizations, these ministries, well, they end up moving so quickly but lack direction. And this jeopardizes really the entire investment of time and energy. Beyond leaving a team directionless and disconnected, it prevents leadership from ever really measuring success in a meaningful way. The second way leaders stumble in setting vision is when they fail to cultivate buy in for their vision. When you fail to simply cultivate buy in, people are on board with the vision. When this happens, well, teams become despondent. They are unable to recognize the deeper purpose and value of their work. And so, true servant leaders, well, they address these failures by modeling vision for the organization and inspiring the team to share that vision. By doing this, you're really allowing your team to take ownership of their unique contributions to pursue the vision. This creates the opportunity to instill the what and the how of the vision, and this is fueled by the why. We've got to be able to communicate why. Why is it important to do this? Why is it important to accomplish that? Why is it an essential element of what we're trying to do in the overarching mission of the organization, church, ministry we are leading? The biggest obstacle to inspiring vision is recognizing how your organization can improve. And so we've got to be able to spend time considering a vision for growth and improvement. We've got to be willing to make bold communication statements and be able to communicate effectively that vision. We've got to be able to understand this, that our team needs to be able to communicate, hear it, and really understand what does this do in the big picture, be able to articulate the why. A few examples that may be shared, but really the big one might be someone as simple as Steve Jobs, right? His relentless pursuit of a vision. Our culture associates him with a visionary thinking mind. The guy was brilliant. He starts as a kid with a vision. He builds Apple into one of the most powerful brands in the 20th century. This is all because he knew how to lead people and inspire them to share his vision. His dreams, well, they weren't carried out in one day, right? They weren't even carried out all by himself. But what he did was work tirelessly toward each goal, and once fulfilled, he set out to achieve the next visionary pursuit. And so his vision, his very vision, it demanded growth. It inspired people to share in that vision, and he achieved the success he could only have dreamed about. Otherwise, why? Because he was able to communicate vision and get people to buy into that vision. What vision have you imagined, and how will you inspire your organization, your ministry, your church setting? How will you inspire them to share that vision? What are the keys then to inspiring vision? Well, we've got to be able to model this for our team, for our church, for the organizations in which we're leading. We've got to help our team realize how each person's role, how it contributes to the larger picture. Be sure to not only share the what and how of your vision, but also the why. Why is this important to do? The third value of servant leadership is to choose ethics over profit. Choose ethics over profit. A good name is to be chosen over riches, according to the book of Proverbs. Over the last 2,000 years, millions of successful leaders have learned the practical truth of this proverb. There's no price you can pay for integrity, but a lack of integrity, well, that, my friend, is very costly. Proper ethics must be demonstrated and practiced daily. There is value that moral character brings to leadership. Great leaders, well, they prioritize the value of character over profit, character over money. They refuse to take advantage of opportunities for dishonest gain. They recognize that in the long run, acting with integrity ultimately results in greater opportunities for lasting success, and it reduces the long-term risk of the organization as a whole. Founder of Chick-fil-A, Truett Cathy, well, he is an example of someone who practiced non-negotiable things, risking potential profit. He has experienced exceptional success he might not ever had he not put his priorities first. He makes a value-driven decision when he starts his restaurant. What does he do? Well, he decides, I'm going to allow my employees the freedom to observe the first day of the week. I'm going to Sundays off. You get to have Sundays off. In fact, he still holds this value right now, as Chick-fil-A's are only operating 6 days a week. Great leaders, they prioritize the value of character over profit, and so they refuse to take advantage of opportunities for gain. Critics argue, look, opening on Sundays, well, that's a terrible idea. That's an unwise business decision. But he held to his non-negotiable, and now Chick-fil-A has posted 46 years of positive sales growth. Cathy highlights a valuable lesson in leadership wisdom. He stuck to his ethical compass, and he has seen success as a result. And so, what are the major or minor non-negotiables that you can hold on to lead your organization? Well, be clear on those non-negotiables that define your integrity, especially with yourself. Identify how integrity will increase your long-term profitability or the success of the ministry, the business, the organization, whatever it is you're leading. Remember the ethical business practices that you hold to, because in doing so, it will reduce long-term risk. The next value of servant leadership is to empower others before personal gain. Empower others before gain. It's amazing what you can achieve if you don't care who gets the credit, right? Former President Truman exemplified how leaders achieve their greatest success through empowering the people around them. And so as leaders, we can cripple our ministries, our organizations, if we allow our teams to remain stagnant in their current patterns. The wise and most introspective of leaders? Well, they recognize that leaders and influence, who are they? And you help to empower those leaders for your own leadership, vision, and success. Organizations will often stumble if they focus on gain over empowering individuals and teams. Leadership becomes a single point of failure, incapable of really capturing the leverage that empowering teams can create. Even when these leaders fail to hit targets, benchmarks, they face a time bomb as people, members on the team. Well, they're going to leave for more fulfilling opportunities. Leaders who care about leveraging and empowering their teams, well, they create a safe environment and it encourages confident decisions. This type of safety, it gives the individual, the team, permission to take smart risks, of course, with your guidance, of course, and more often than not, they're going to achieve greater outcomes. These leaders, they seek to understand the personal goals of team members by knowing and prioritizing these shared goals. A leader then can shape team responsibilities to maximize internal motivations of each member. The wisest and most introspective of leaders recognize leaders and who will help them in that leadership endeavor. And so, what kind of team have you built around you? What steps are you taking to empower your team? How do we do so? Well, the first way we can do so is to create a safe environment where people can grow. We've got to allow for risks to be taken so the growth of the individual, development of the individual can be in mind. We've got to uncover and cultivate shared goals that inspire ownership of responsibilities. The final value of servant leadership is to privilege people over tasks. Privilege people over tasks. In other words, lift them up before whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. It was Simon Sinek, a visionary in the field of living out purpose, said this: when people are financially vested, they want to return. When they're financially invested, they want to return. If they are emotionally invested, they want to contribute. They want to be a part. They want to contribute. There is no greater value than a team member that desires to carry out their responsibilities with passion. Such a team, well, it starts with leadership that understands and expresses the values to that team member so they can carry that on. Many leaders have difficulty in distinguishing how they can affirm and respect individuals on the team while still remaining in full control over the team. However, leaders that underappreciate employee members or team members or folks that they're leading, well, they end up with a dissatisfied team, a culture of negativity, right? A subpar workmanship product is then pushed out. However, an easy solution to this dilemma is expressing value through respect, consideration, and simple encouragement. There are ways that as a leader you can appreciate your team. You can appreciate the people that you're working with, that you're leading. Simply a word of affirmation. Hey, thanks for all you're doing. Man, way to go. That looks great. Maybe helping them out as they're trying to perform whatever that task is they're trying to get done. Kindness towards your team, well, it creates trust in you as a leader. And in doing so, this develops a deep desire for that individual to continue contributing to the success of the organization, ministry, or whatever it is they are a part of. And so it's so practical. Every person is a human. Respect that individual, not just what they're doing, not just their contribution to the team. I mean, that's great and all, but we've got to be sure if we're going to be servant leaders, we are investing in others, and this only occurs through kindness. And so I leave you with this thought that, man, we have got to be kind to those we're working with, kind to those who are serving, kind to those who are involved in the organization, the company, the church, the ministry setting, whatever it is, be kind. And in doing so, they are going to trust you as a leader. And in doing so, they will help accomplish the overarching vision and to the overarching success of the organization and the church. I hope that this particular session has been helpful for you. May God bless you richly.